Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nur Fatiha, and today I'm going to discuss about a topic that related to air pollution, which is haze. So without any further ado, let's continue with our topic. Before we go into a further detail of this topic, in this presentation I will explain to you about the definition of haze, the causes of haze, the effect of haze, and also the ways to protect ourselves during haze. So let's continue with the first content, which is the introduction, which is the definition of haze. So for the explanation of haze, it will be a simple explanation, which is haze consists of sufficient smoke, dust, moisture and vapor that's suspended in air to impair visibility. Haze pollution can be said as transboundary if its density and extent is so great at source that it remains at measurable levels after crossing into another country's airspace. Next, we continue with the second content, which is the causes of haze. So let's continue with the first causes of haze, which is volcanic activity. Sulfur dioxide SO2, hydrochloric acid HCl, and volcanic ash are released into the atmosphere after a large volcanic eruption. These chemical compounds are dangerous for all living beings. Following the 1991 eruption of Mount Pinatubo in Philippines, hanging aerosols become a major issue in Southeast Asia because of the cloud of sulfur dioxide droplets produced by volcanic gases. The average global temperature decreased by as much as 0.5 degrees Celsius between 1992 and 1993, according to the Royal Meteorological Society. So for the second causes of haze is windy weather. Another type of naturally produced haze is desert dust carried into the sky by the wind. The minerals in the soil and dust enable for the absorption of sunlight, which warms the area. The dust can be blown over great distance. Occasionally, dust from Sahara Desert travels to neighboring countries, including the United States and the Amazon rainforest. Furthermore, a portion of the atmospheric haze is caused by salts and are evaporated into the air as wind lifts water from the oceans. The cloud formation process is speeded up by the sea salt's role as cloud condition nuclear. When clouds are created in this way, they linger in the sky for a very long time. Some clouds are unable to discharge the accumulated water that they hold and can float around the sky for an infinite number of years due to chemical reactions between the air and water molecules and the contaminants. The cause of some of these pollutant-rich clouds is acid rain. So for the third causes or the last causes of haze is human practice. Hazes are said to be produced more by human activities than by natural sources, including burning of forests, factory emission, traffic pollution from cars, and the burning of coal and other fossil fuels. NASA claims that the sulfate aerosols contained in the atmosphere rapidly increased throughout the Industrial Revolution, which took place between the 18th and 19th centuries. According to estimates, the average global temperature has increased by 0.8 degrees Celsius since 1880. This seemingly insignificant change has a profound impact on how the entire globe functions. According to NASA, the temperature has risen by more than 60% since 1975, or 0.15 to 0.20 degrees Celsius every decade.
On June 15, 1991, at 1:42 p.m., the island of Luzon in the Philippines was faced with the second largest volcanic eruption in the 20th century, the eruption of Mount Pinatubo. This eruption had a devastating impact not only on the local environment and people, but on a global scale as well. Before we get more into the effects of the eruption, let's start from the beginning. Mount Pinatubo sits on a destructive plate boundary. It is a subduction-related volcano formed by the Eurasian plate sliding under the Philippine Mobile Belt along the Manila Trench. On July 16, 1990, a magnitude 7.8 earthquake struck about 60 miles northeast of Mount Pinatubo. This caused landslides, earthquakes, and an increase in steam emissions at the mountain. The volcano seemed to be stable again until about 2 months before the major eruptions beginning on June 12th. During these 2 months, there were emissions and small explosions before the eruptions. From June 7th to the 12th, the first magma had reached the surface of Mount Pinatubo and oozed out to form a lava dome, but this did not cause an explosive eruption. This changed, however, on June 12th, Philippine Independence Day, when millions of cubic yards of magma exploded in the volcano's first eruption. This still was only the beginning for the Philippines. On June 15th, at 1:42 p.m. local time, the stratovolcano exploded in a cataclysmic eruption that shot nearly 20 million tons of sulfur dioxide into the stratosphere over the next 9 hours. This eruption produced a column of ash and smoke more than 30 kilometers high. The cloud of sulfur dioxide mixed with water vapor circled the entire globe in 22 days. The effects of global warming were offset due to the cloud of sulfur dioxide in the atmosphere. The cloud deflected 2% of the Earth's incoming solar radiation, and temperatures worldwide were lowered on average by 0.4 to 0.5 degrees Celsius. Mount Pinatubo ejected roughly 10 billion tons of magma onto the surrounding landscape. Ash deposits over 2 inches thick covered a land area of about 4,000 square kilometers. This caused crops and other plant life around Mount Pinatubo to burn. The eruption removed so much magma and rock from below the volcano that the summit collapsed to form a large caldera 2.5 kilometers across. High levels of precipitation caused a lake to form in the crater at Mount Pinatubo. The environment wasn't the only thing to be affected by this volcanic eruption. Pyroclastic flows, lahars, as well as the ashfall hazard all resulted in damage and casualties.
So we already discussed about the causes of haze. So now we're going to discuss about effect of haze to human and environment, and also the human's health is divided into two, which is short term and also long term. So I'll explain in detail. Okay, our health state, such as whether we have any pre-existing medical conditions, the PSI level, how long we spend outside, and the level of outdoor activity all play a significant role in how the haze affects us. Short-term exposure can irritate the eyes, nose, and throat in healthy persons, resulting in dry or sore throat, coughing, sneezing, running nose, eye tears. Eczema flares up and skin irritations are common in people with skin sensitive. Fortunately, the majority of people simply experience minor symptoms that go away on their own. Some patients need to contact a doctor for treatment if their symptoms are more severe or persistent. Additionally, haze might take existing heart or lung condition worse. For instance, haze can cause acute bronchitis and asthma attacks in those with lung conditions. These people should seek quick medical evaluation and therapy because this could potentially be serious. Long-term exposure may raise the chance of developing cancer, developing chronic bronchitis, reducing lung function, and even causing early death. The impacts of haze are also more noticeable in children and the elderly. They should remain indoors as much as they can to avoid haze. To minimize any negative health consequences on the unborn child, pregnant women should also avoid exposure to the smoke. So haze an impact on agriculture as well, since it interferes with the photosynthesis. This is because the leaves are covered in insoluble aerosols, which can reduce photosynthesis, yields, carbon dioxide absorptions, and also greenhouse effect. This is the last part of my content, which is the ways to protect ourselves during haze. So I think this is the important part, because this is one of the ways to lower the risk for getting any disease or heart illnesses due to haze pollutant. So let's get into it. So first, avoid outdoor activities, especially outdoor sports. When haze reaches harmful levels, people who are young, pregnant, elderly, and have chronic illnesses, especially those with heart and pulmonary conditions, should stay inside. Adults in good health should refrain from pointless outdoor activities. If you must exercise outside, stay away from heavily populated locations near freeways and fast roads, especially during rush hour. Next, use an air purifier to keep the particulate levels low. The size and style of your home should guide your choice of air purifier. Avoid using ozone-producing air cleaners, as they may produce more air pollutants. If you have many rooms, it could be necessary for each room to have its own air purifier in order to ensure the air is cleaned effectively, following the manufacturer's directions when changing the air purifier's filter on a regular basis. On the other hand, drink more water and increase the intake of fresh fruits and vegetables. They strengthen the immune systems and assist the body in eliminating toxins stacking in through the skin and lungs. Consuming more anti-inflammatory fruits and vegetables can also assist to lessen inflammation, and that could be brought on by dangerous airborne fine particles. Reduce intake of alcohol and coffee because they can cause the body to lose fluid and possible nutrients. So last but not least, avoid driving if visibility is bad. If you must travel while visibility is severely constrained by haze, avoid driving and take the public transportation instead. If driving is unavoidable, drive slowly and according to the circumstances of the road. Turn on headlight, roll up all the windows, and stay out of the passing and crossing lanes of traffic. Keep your eyes open and increase your following distance. So for conclusion, haze is one of air pollution that requires to be resolved as soon as possible when it happens, as it can affect humans' health and also environment. It is very crucial to care for our air because we all living beings depend on it. People should follow government instruction when haze happen to protect themselves and also their beloved family. So for end my presentation, I would like to read a quote from Robert Orban. He said, "There's so much pollution in the air now that if it weren't for our lungs, there'd be no place to put it all." So that's all for my presentation. Thank you.